Hi, guys. Welcome back to Broken Journey, the podcast. I am your host, Elba. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're having a wonderful day so far. So, guys, for the month of March, I decided to do Her Story series. And today I'm so excited because I will have my friend Theresa here. So, thank you, Theresa, for coming. And I am excited to have you. Hi, Theresa.
Hi, I'm so excited. Thank you and honored that you invited me to speak here today.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. So happy to have you. So, for my audience, if you could introduce yourself, that would
Sure.
be great.
I'm Theresa Begier-Aguilar. I originally met Elbia in Mary Kay. I'm a new sales director in Mary Kay Cosmetics. I have two amazing kids. Been a single mom for a very long time. My kids are now young, amazing adults, Sierra and Zach. So proud of them. And I'm just excited to share my story with you.
Awesome. And for those, I didn't say the topic, right? Which I
Okay.
should have done the first thing.
That's okay.
Our topic is going to be overcoming single mom, right? Which is something that I know about because I was a single mom as well. So we're going to go through, a few questions. And again, it doesn't have to be structured. You know, you can go and tell me whatever it is that you want to tell me. And I am just, again, honored to have you with me.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
the first question I have for you is, can you share some of the biggest challenges you faced as a single mom?
Sure. So, if other single moms are out there, right? God bless all of you, all of us, any single
Yes.
parent, right? Man or woman, I think, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
financially was probably one of the biggest challenges. And I think swallowing your pride when you are, right, when you have to go ask somebody else for help. I always worked three jobs. And then for whatever reason, it still wasn't enough, right? But
Right.
so I ended up having to be on food stamps. We ended up on Medicaid. My last name is Aguilar. My married last name is Aguilar, and I kept it. And when I took my kids to get them on Medicaid, they were trying to make me prove that they were citizens of the United States. So it took forever to get them on it. And it
Wow.
was very sad, right? Because
Yes.
they were born here. We were all born here. My
Right.
husband was a Mexican American. So anyway, that was in itself a challenge to try to get the aid they needed that they deserved.
Wow.
Um, to take care of them. And so financially was probably the biggest part. Another part I think was, being mom and dad, right? Like making sure, because I had
Yes.
a girl and a boy. So LB, I think you had girls and boys, right? So
Yep. I have a girl and a boy. Yes.
yep. And
Yeah.
so
And it's,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, you know the challenge of being mom and dad and being a dad to a boy, right? So
Right.
it there's a difference in that. So
For
both of my
sure.
kids are beautiful people inside and out, and I feel like because my son was raised with two women, that he is a kinder spirit about
Oh
him,
my God. Yeah.
So I think that's great. And how about your son? Same?
That's the same thing. The same
Yep.
thing. My son, he's the younger of the two. So
Mm-hmm.
he would say, I have two moms
Yeah.
because my
Right.
daughter was my daughter was always like, listen, this and
Yes.
this and all this other stuff. But yes, because as moms, we can teach them the nurturing side, right? But we definitely can't teach them some of the masculine side. But
Mm-hmm.
again, if I look back and I see how my son is today, I would say that I'm blessed that my son came out to be the man that he is right now. So, and I'm sure you feel the same.
Exactly. Yes. And my daughter, she's a strong young woman. She just at 30 years old bought her own home in
Nice.
Boston, which is really expensive, all on her own. She
Yes.
didn't have any money from mom. I was a single mom. I still am a single mom, And then
Yes.
their dad passed away 7 years ago, so it's very, he's not even in the picture at all. So
Wow.
she's definitely, they do things on their own. It's very exciting to watch how she's very powerful. She's a director in a huge finance company, and my son is
Nice.
a DJ, Zeos, Zeos. I have to put,
Yes.
a plug in for him,
Yes,
so,
of course. Of course.
on here. But he will see his name in lights everywhere. So look for him on YouTube
Nice.
as well. But
Yes. I'm
I'm
excited.
just I'm really proud of that. And I want all single moms out there, whether your kiddos are little or they're older, to really pat yourself on the back, because no matter what,
It's not easy.
it no, it is not easy, is it? And you should be proud of how they are and how they turned out. I know I am very proud of mine. There were days when I was like, "Oh, how am I gonna ever get through this day?" And that
Right.
even those days when I went to the kids change person was like, "Let's go to McDonald's today," and the way we did is I took some of their, like, seriously, pennies and quarters, and we got
Right.
that right. So, but
Right, of course. Yeah,
it's made them the people that they are today, right? To
for
For the
sure.
financials, and they're very smart about money. They're actually teaching me how you make your money work for you instead of you just always working for your money. And so I'm
Right,
very proud of that as a single mom. Like I said, I never realized what an impact that you had. What we were going through, our challenges we were going through, were going to make
right.
them such strong people, right?
Right. And then
And
you
go
kind
ahead.
of look back and you look at the fruits of your labor, right?
Hmm.
When you're in the mix, when you're in that storm, you're like, I'm gonna yank my hairs out. These kids are driving me crazy. What am I gonna do? I don't
Yes.
have for this. I don't have for that. And because they're young, they, of course, they don't know and they don't
No, right,
understand,
right.
right? And I'm gonna speak for myself, but as a Latina, my in my culture, and I'm not gonna say 100% because there are people who speak a lot about money, but financial literacy is very minimal in the Latin culture,
Hmm.
right? So my mom didn't really, teach me how to manage my money. So I had to learn the hard way and kind of get myself into trouble so many times, having to purchase clothes for the kids on your credit card,
Yeah.
right? Or even grocery, right? I
Hmm.
remember one time I got a Sam's Club card and they said, "Oh, you can use your Sam's Club in Walmart." I was like, "On Walmart? I can do grocery on Walmart? Oh my God, this is going to save me right now." you know? But then later on, I'm looking at that bill. I'm like, man, that $200 grocery is costing me
A lot of
another
money.
interest and all that stuff is costing me so much more than $200, right? Because
Right.
you're not literate about finances, right? But yeah, I know I look back at that and I say, wow, the fruits of my labor, you know, how, even though we struggled and even though we went through what we went through with our kids, you know, they still are great children. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And I just look back and I'm like, thank you very much.
Exactly. And there's so many of us out there now, unfortunately, right, that are out
Right.
there doing it on our own.
I know.
But what amazing adults we have, and the hearts that they come out with towards giving and caring about other people, right? And that
Right.
kind of thing. So it's exciting to see that part. And my daughter, like I said, being a strong young woman, and then my son being, like you said, a very kind, strong
Yep.
man, right? Young
Yes.
man. So yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Okay, and then I think this kind of seems like your answer from the previous one,
Uh-huh.
but we'll say it anyway.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Were there any moments where you felt overwhelmed or doubted yourself, and how did you push through those moments?
So there definitely were moments, right, where you're like, especially when my kids were we lived in neighborhoods that kids had, we lived in I tried to keep them in the neighborhoods where there was less violence or anything going on. So
Of
those,
course.
obviously there was more money there, and that they went to school with kids that had money and things, and that we didn't have. So that was, for me, that was, as a mother, you want your kids to have everything, right? So it was that
Right.
those times I was like, oh no, how am I going to ever be able to do this? But I am grateful because, we had people in our life. I come from a good family. You talk about the Latino. My mother-in-law was so helpful to me. I always joke that she loved me more than her son, but
Aw.
but that, to help things with clothes, my family, my sister, like, people
Right.
like that could help me when I was feeling so overwhelmed, and my faith in God. I mean, I will tell you, my faith in God is
Nice.
strong, and with without him, I would not be here, and
Of
I would not have made it
course.
through it. I wouldn't have. There were many
Yep.
times when you're crying in the shower and you're like, God, please,
I know.
you know.
Come rescue me.
Yes. Yeah, so I will
And
say
just
he's a
lifting
big
it,
part.
yeah, just lifting it up. I think
Mhm.
for me, I've had my share of shower cries too,
Right.
and I would say, God, you know what? That's it. This burden is too heavy. I'm lifting it up.
Hmm.
And it may not have come right at that moment when I needed it right there, but
Hmm.
eventually it did come. So,
Exactly.
when sometimes, it sounds so cliche where they say, oh yeah, whatever, God or
Hmm.
whatever. But I will tell you that keeping that faith through everything that you go through,
Hmm.
man, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're so right about that, because there was times when my daughter was very sick in high school, and those were really tough times when I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I was taking care of her. One time she had a pneumonia where she was in the hospital with streptococcus pneumonia, and I was having to stay
Wow.
at the hospital. My son was at home with pneumonia, so my sister had to come stay with him because I had to be at the hospital. And
All
so,
right.
but it was very challenging. And but the reason I tell that story is because, like I said, God got us through it. She ended up going on to, should never have been in the business school at CU Boulder. Ended up we wrote letters to a lady. She got through to the business school, into the diverse scholars
Nice.
program, and he graduated from CU Boulder. You know what I mean? My son was a
Wow.
college student at CU. Neither one of those were set up to be at that place. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's through the faith in God, and then the networking that we were able to do with school, and
Right.
that they were able to have those opportunities, and so I'm very grateful for all of that.
Yes, that's amazing. God
Yeah.
comes through all the time,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Totally.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next question I
Okay.
have for you, and it's how did you prioritize self-care and maintain your well-being while also caring for your children as a single mom? Because we know that those can be difficult times, right? So
You're
even
so
worry about yourself when you're more worried about your children.
exactly. So, to be honest, I was not very good. The one thing I did do is I used to go get my nails done. That was like the one thing that I would, like once a month or every other month or whatever, I would try to go get my nails or my toes done. But as far as self care, to be honest, I wasn't. To be honest, I really wasn't good about it. So I recommend to any single mom now,
Right.
just make yourself take an hour, get someone to help you watch the kids, give yourself more grace than, because I
Yes.
wasn't good at doing that, giving myself grace or time. For me,
Yeah.
I always wore hand-me-downs from my niece, but they were beautiful
Mhm.
clothes, don't get me wrong, I always got
Right.
nice clothes,
Yeah,
but
of
I never,
course.
it was always about the kids first. And
Right. Right.
so it is, but I do recommend that as a single mom. I was not very good about that. I'm learning now, even though they're grown and older,
Yeah, of
to do
course.
more self-care and to take care of myself and prioritize myself.
Yes, and it's funny that you say that because I do the same thing. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go get my nails done. And I'm like, I don't want to pay all that money to get because my mindset is just thinking about, wait a minute, I don't want to overspend or I don't want to do this. But
Mhm.
like you said, we need to take at least an hour for ourselves to de-stress, to
Mhm.
just get away, and just do something for ourselves so that we can feel better for ourselves because we definitely cannot, give from an empty cup, right?
Yes. Oh,
We
so
always
true.
have to have,
Yes.
yeah, we have to have our cup full because if we're stressed, if we're tired, if we're angry or, all this other stuff, it kind of trickles down to the children, right?
Exactly.
And so, yeah, sometimes just, asking for help. I'm so grateful that I had my aunt because my mom, she was a young mom. My mom was 16 when she had me.
Oh, okay.
So she was still working, so she
Yeah.
couldn't help me with the children, right?
Right.
And my aunt, thank goodness, she's my dad's sister.
Okay.
I would ask her once in a blue moon, Titi, can you please take care of the kids? I just need to go out for a little bit with my friends or whatever. And
Right.
she, with no problem, she would say, okay, no problem. And I would pick them
Yeah.
up the next day early in the morning,
Yeah.
or I would pick them up the same day and just take them home and stuff like that. But definitely, you're absolutely right. We need to take some time for ourselves.
And don't forget that, like you said, like, because no matter what, there are kids forever, right? So when they have something goes on, because we always feel for our kids, right? If something's going on challenging for them, we're
Right.
feeling it still, even when they're grown and adults, right?
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
learn to, and that's what I'm doing. I actually just got an exercise program. My daughter actually just be also is part-time job, does as a bar instructor, for
Okay.
the bar, like,
Awesome.
exercising bar, that. And
Yes.
so she just sent me a video. I'm so excited. And so I'm doing that now. 'Cause I had a hip replacement
Nice.
in August. And so I'm able to
Okay.
start exercising. So I'm so excited. I started doing that 15 minutes a night. It's not a long,
Nice.
but it making myself be disciplined, right? To take that time.
Right.
And I feel
Yep.
so much better after.
Yes, and it's funny that you say that because, I since I've been working from home, I
Oh
don't go
yeah.
to the gym or any of that stuff.
Right.
So yesterday what I did was I have an hour lunch and, I went, I put on my, workout clothes, and I said, "You know what? You have no excuse. Go for 30 minutes. Then
Right.
come back, take 15 minutes to take a shower and get back on the I mean, you're not on camera all day.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna see you. So I was like, and I went for those 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you that it felt so good.
Yes.
It feels so good to just get out. And I'm in Florida, so it's been nice over here. I think it was 68, 70.
Oh
So it's
wow.
a nice little warm
Mm-hmm.
breeze, and I was able to go out and I listened to a podcast for 30 minutes, and then I went around the block and I came back and I was like, wow, you need to do this every other day. So like that,
Right.
and just take it step by step because we can't go from not doing any exercise
Right.
to 2, 3 hours. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Right.
The 15 minutes is great.
Yeah.
The other day I did a 15-minute I like routine exercise. I did that. I did some stretching and I was like, okay, 15 minutes is what I got and this is what I'm
Yep.
going to give.
And you
you
feel
know?
good even
Yeah.
15 minutes makes you feel good
Yes.
after you do that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Totally.
sure. Yeah. I forget it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Um, we talked about taking care of yourself. Okay. What advice would you give other single moms who have been struggling with similar challenges?
Definitely reach out to your, if it's a financial situation, don't be too proud. Go get the services are out there for you. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't get them at the county, look at the state level or any counties around you. There's things like food banks you can go to. Like there's different things you can go to for help. To make sure that you guys are, your family's getting that stuff. If it's
Right.
clothing, they have different churches. If you have a church you can go to, they usually will really help you. Just
Right.
things like that. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I guess be too prideful, um,
Right.
and make sure you to really take care of yourself. And sometimes when maybe the kids are crying, or I don't know how old your kids are or what you're going through, but give yourself a timeout if you have to, even if it's you go in the bathroom and shut the door for 5 minutes or whatever it is. But
Right.
maybe even take yourself out of the setting for a minute and give yourself grace. Don't be too hard on yourself because what you're going through is really challenging.
Yes, it sure is. It sure is. It
Yes.
sure is. Okay. Another question, which
Hmm.
it looks like I skipped this one, but what support system or resources you did say when it comes to food and stuff like
Hmm.
that, but support system. Did you have a support system? And if you didn't, what do you recommend for someone who doesn't have a support
Yeah.
system?
So that's great. So I actually am grateful because I had, like I said, my mother-in-law's, my ex-husband's family, they were amazing to me. And then my own family, my sister, my parents, they were very, very good to me and to my children. I was grateful. My parents actually moved to Denver like a month before my ex-husband left. It was like God put him here. It was like, oh wow,
Right.
mom and dad are back. But anyway, so I was very grateful for that. But if you don't, please go to a church or somewhere because there are people out there that want to help you and those
Right.
kind of things that women want to, men and women are out there to help people single moms now to, with different things, no matter if it's, like I said, it's clothes, food,
Right.
even with, and also remember, like the Excel companies, they have different programs for public service. There's all kinds of
Right.
programs out there for financial support for you. But I am grateful. I did have my family for support, and of course, my faith in God is
Right.
the first thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I totally agree. And I just want to mention,
Mhm.
because there aren't that many, or maybe they don't speak too much about it, but there are single dads out there.
Oh
And for those
yes,
single dads who are listening to us,
yes,
this applies to you as well.
totally. And we
Right?
and we respect you as well. We know it's challenging for you, and yes.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Whether it's the mom or the dad, I know a lot of the
Hmm.
times it's mainly the moms, but
But there are
there
single
is those
dads.
instances, yeah,
Mhm.
or of my coworker, her boyfriend that she's with now, the mom passed away.
Oh no,
She died
yeah.
at a young age of cancer.
Oh
So I think the son is 13 or 14 years old. So he's a single
wow.
dad, you know?
Yeah.
And
And that's
so,
tough.
it is because then you're having to deal with grief, and
Hmm.
then having that person, I mean, that child also deal with it. So you have to deal with grief yourself, and then kind of
Your
help them through
child's.
through the grieving process, right?
Oh,
So yeah.
totally.
Yeah. So I think, even though we're speaking on our behalf as single
Hmm.
moms, because we're single moms, right?
Hmm.
Also know that if you are a male and you're listening to this applies to you too. Take some time for yourself, right? And look for the resources. And unfortunately, sometimes, people don't realize that there are resources out there, right? They
Hmm.
can always go to the county website and look for, what is it called? I forgot the name of it. Geez, it doesn't want to come to my head right now. But there's resources where you can, like you said, the food banks. There we go.
Hmm.
It came
Yeah.
out, the food
Yeah. Yeah.
banks.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, you can get the food banks, you can go to your local church, you can do, the local churches also have, counseling and things like that, which is great.
And now that you say the counseling, I was just going to say that. So we have to remember too, when our kids are going, like acting out, sometimes when especially if it's been a bad divorce or anything like that, or a death, whatever, they're
Hmm.
grieving too. They're grieving over that loss of that parent, whether they
Right.
passed or not, right?
Hmm.
And it's like you were saying, you deal with grief, your grief, but then you grieve for your children too, and you're sad for them. But remember to give them grace as well. And if it is counseling that you guys need to go to, then take advantage of it, and have the kiddos be able to share with somebody neutral, and maybe that will
Right.
help them and help you.
Right. And sometimes, I'm not sure of every school, but sometimes the school offers resources too for counseling as well.
Yeah, they do. I know my kids were in a couple different divorce classes at their schools and things. But I wish I knew more about the other counseling outside of that too.
Right.
That they gave to help the kids more when they're little, because you do get wrapped up in yourself sometimes. At least I did anyway. And then I forget, like, they're going through a lot too. So
Right. Yes. Yes. I totally understand. Because
yeah,
sometimes you're trying to figure out what to do next,
yeah,
and you're not focused on, you're focused on making sure that they get what they need,
right,
right, when it comes to the food on on the
yeah,
table, a roof over their head and all that other stuff, and sometimes you forget about the mental portion, right?
yes, that emotional
Which
support,
yeah,
exactly,
that emotional
yes.
support, yeah. Yeah. So that's awesome. Okay. And then in closing, I have my last question for you. If you had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you say?
I would say be kinder to each other. Be kind to each other. You don't know what the person next to you is going through, or what just happened in their life, and if you're able to reach a hand out to help someone, don't begrudge them because they need help. Reach out and help them.
Right. Awesome. That is so
That's what I
awesome.
had.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I feel the same way. Sometimes we just never know what they're going through, because sometimes people don't really like to like like they say, put their dirty laundry
Right,
right out
exactly.
there,
And
right?
I think we were raised, especially the older generation was raised, you don't share the
Yes,
family secrets. You don't tell anything out in public. And I
that's
think
right.
now we need to reach out and help each other.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I remember them saying, whatever happens here in this house
Yeah,
does not come out this house.
exactly. That's right. Yep. I grew up the same way. So, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. It's sad in a way because,
Hmm.
when you look back, you think about like, and this is like jumping off the topic a little bit,
Oh,
but
you're
you
good.
think
Yes.
about the sexual abuse,
Yes.
and things like that, or even the child abuse, right?
Hmm.
How, they would say, you can't tell
You don't.
anything and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yep.
And I remember one time, I had a friend in middle school, and one day she came to this is like totally off the topic, right? But
No, you're good. Yeah.
she came to school and both her arms were broken. And I said, Ruthie, what happened to you? And she was like, oh, I put my hands in the washing machine, and I was pushing down the clothes and the machine started and my hands got stuck. And I was like, that was
Yeah.
weird. I was
Right.
like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
but I wasn't abused in my house, so I didn't really,
Right.
it wasn't a red flag for me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right.
I did see abuse as a child from my dad and my mom.
Hmm.
My dad hitting my mom. I was until I was like 4 or 5 years old. But other than that, I wasn't abused, right? So I didn't think about it. But then I
Right.
I look back and I'm like, wow, you know a lot of times, they're scared to talk because they're scared of what the repercussions are going to be because of that, right? And then, sometimes some parents will take and use their anger from the other parent and take it out on the children, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
And that is that. And I think it's good you say that too, because there are some women out there or men that are being abused still and they're not stepping out. So reach out. There's help out there anonymously for you
Yes.
to get help. Don't
Yes.
stay in that situation because your children in the long run will be very affected by that.
No, for sure. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I
Oh, thank you. I
appreciate
was
you
honored.
sharing. I appreciate you sharing your story with me. I'm just really grateful. I was a little skeptical about putting that post out there, and I said, you know what? What's the worst thing that can happen, right?
Yep.
Is
Yep.
that somebody says no, or they
Yeah.
don't answer. And I'm so happy that you answered, and I'm
Yes.
so
I'm
grateful.
grateful.
I thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you so much. And I want to thank all our listeners. I thank you so much for listening in, for taking the time to listen to us. And I hope that this has served you in one way or another. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. I wanted to share some resources with you in case you are a single parent who is struggling at this moment. First, we have feedingamerica.org. Again, that's feedingamerica.org. You can plug in your zip code and it will give you all the local food banks in your area. And again, this is in the United States. I'm not sure about anything out of the country. But again, you can go onto the website of feedingamerica.org and you can find your local food bank there. And then I also have another website called mindremakeproject.org. Again, that's mindremakeproject.org. And this will give you resources for mental health, wellness, and personal development. They even have worksheets that can help you with your feelings, right? Because sometimes we may feel down and we don't know why. So they have worksheets there that can help you for that. And then also, I wanted to add the suicide prevention hotline, which is 988. You just dial 988 and they will connect you with someone who is professional, and they can help you through whatever situation you are going through. So, guys, thank you again for joining me. I wanted to add this to this podcast because I know sometimes we can get overwhelmed with everyday life, and you are needed here. God loves you. Have a good day.